Today I will give you 10 reasons why you should stop using CSS. What I'm trying to say to you is not that writing CSS is bad, but there are more intelligent ways to do it. Why you have to waste a lot of time writing CSS if there are ways that will make your life a lot easier and will make you go faster. One of that ways is writing Sass. When using Sass, you will make your life a lot more easier. Hopefully in this video I will give you some reasons on why you should use Sass and stop using writing CSS. Even though that the syntax is really similar, so you will not find too much difference or a big gap. Another thing that you have to take in consideration is that Sass is not a lot different from CSS. Is pretty the same. The reasons that I will talk about are put in a casual way. The reason number 10 is the syntax. You don't have to worry anymore about the semicolons or the brackets, and in my opinion this is a huge benefit because myself, I hated these semicolons. They wasted a lot of my time, and don't writing them. The code is a little bit cleaner and faster because I don't have to worry every time to write that semicolons. I can go more smoother and faster when writing code. Another reason is that you have a nested and clean syntax, and you don't have every time to pick up all the parent selectors and list them up every time, but you will have a cleaner code nesting them by tab spaces. So the main important thing on Sass is the spacing, and you don't have to worry more about other things. The reason number 9 are variables. So variables are amazing, and you may have, if you have ever used other languages, you may have find yourself a little bit limited. Why? Because every time you have to write the same X code, maybe for the primary colors or other colors, and every time you have to copy and paste or rewrite the hex code of the colors. Using variables, you will have a clean code, and if you want to change it, you will have to change only one line of code. And I'm not talking about only colors, but in these variables you can store a lot of things. For example, the font name. You can use variables to store the resolution of various devices. For example, you can have tablet and the resolution, and phone resolution, etc., etc. And it's a lot more cleaner calling a variable than calling a number. Reason number 8 are mixins. Another huge benefit using Sass are absolutely mixins. Mixins are a block of codes that you can reuse over time. When using mixins, you can pass values, so you have a more dynamic block of code. So you will use mixins to try to follow the right principle, and whenever you will see that you reuse a part of code more times, you will use mixin. Reason number 7, you have functions. Functions are really similar to mixins, but the only difference are that they return a value. There are cases where you may need the use of functions instead of mixins. At the number 6, we have imports. Imports are really useful since they make the structure of your code really clean and easy to understand. If you compare it with a big file of CSS, or even if you split your CSS in multiple parts and you load them using the link rel, doing that, you are making a new HTTP call, and that is not the ideal thing to do. With imports, you have a cleaner code, and you can split up your code in different parts, and you can even load CSS code and not only Sass code. The main benefits, for example, you can create a palette.sass file, and there you can store all your colors, or you can create a head files or a footer files, a body files, and you can split up your code, and you have a cleaner way and a faster way, even after you have whenever you want to go back and read again your code, you have an easier time. But remember, when using imports, try to use the syntax use instead of imports, because it will get duplicated, and you can find more information into the documentation that you will find in the description below. The reason number 5 is math. When using CSS, you will notice that something is missing, and one of that things are mathematics. So making simple or complex calculations are essential and are a needed feature in CSS. When creating a website, for example, you can give 2/3 to a main and 1/3 to an aside. And example like this, you can subtract the width of the screen, etc., etc. Number 4, we have logic. So when using Sass, you can add up logic to your CSS, and that is a really important feature in my opinion. You can use if statements or for loops or even other types of loops, so you can write complex rules without losing a lot of time. And for example, use if statements combined with mixins or functions or with for loops to create a really complex things that in CSS obviously is absolutely not possible. At the number 3, I have put clean code. So when using Sass or writing Sass, using all that features that I have listed, you will have a really clean code and not complex to understand or complex to see as CSS. I'm not saying that it's too complex to know CSS, etc., but for sure you will have an easier time because, for example, with nesting, etc., etc., you will have a more readability. And for example, with imports, you will know every file what it's used for, and you will not have a big main.css file where you have to find where is the menu or where is the header or footer, etc., etc. Another aspect, for example, is the nesting of the code, so you will not have all that parent to button selectors, 10 selectors, 20 selectors, etc., etc., and you will have only a lot easier time. Another thing that I hated so much are semicolons, and you will not see them anymore. The number 2, you have faster development. So using Sass, since the code is even cleaner, you will have faster development using mixins, or for example, without writing every time semicolons or writing brackets, you will gain a little bit of seconds. But I have to say that you will not get faster development, but even faster refactoring. So if you want to read your code again after 1 year or 2 years, since you will have imports or exports and different files, you will absolutely have an easier time reading the main files and knowing where every part of codes will do and things like that. Reason number one, and the final reason, is production ready. You will have a well minimized CSS file, and the only thing that you have to do is to import it into your index.css. So that's it for this video. If you want me to show you how to use Sass and how to install it, I don't know, maybe on Linux or Windows or other operating systems, let me know in the comment section, and hopefully I will do it.